3. Only where free enterprise exists. My God, how little do my countrymen know what precious blessings they are in possession of, and which no other people on earth enjoy. Thomas Edison. What the free enterprise system really means is the more enterprising you are, the freer you are. What we all need is emphasis on free and even more on enterprise. The majority of people do not understand free enterprise. And you've got to learn to accept free enterprise to be the leader. In America, we've got two kinds of wealth. We got wealth that credited itself, and those are normally guys that are conservative. And then we've got a bunch of guys that are fourth and fifth generation wealth. They're some of the biggest leaders in socialist movement. And they feel guilty about being rich because they don't understand that somebody else paid the price that they aren't having to pay. No matter how you slice it, there are only two groups in America, the producers and the non-producers. But thank God for producers, because the hope of America and the world of free enterprise system. Right after Ronald Reagan got elected as president, a couple of people came up to me and said, "Dexter, you worked so hard on Reagan's campaign. We owe you something. Would you consider the next ambassadorship that comes open?" That would mean moving to another country to be the very distinguished ambassador from America. And I said, quote, "I don't do anything wrong. Why? I didn't do anything wrong. Why do I have to leave America? That's not a reward," end quote. I believe in America. That's where my hope is. Many people in America think somebody owes them a living. Instead, every American owes all the people that made America great. We don't appreciate what we have, so we don't utilize anywhere near our potential. We are a blessed nation, but when we're always blaming somebody else, we can't count our blessings. If you study the history of World War II and you study America's role in it, what did we do? After we beat our enemies, we went in and helped them rebuild. We taught them the free enterprise system. We taught them the way we manufactured, the way we plan ahead. We taught them all the advantages. We're the only ones who came back and helped make it a better place. We had a choice of one or two things: to whip them and walk away, have them hate us and try to build up to retaliate, or go in, teach them how we have freedoms and lifestyle. America has the greatest lifestyle of any country in this world. You see, only in America could the men and women who have the largest dreams, investments, and work the hardest believe they should be rich. God made the rules. God's a free enterpriser. The only countries that have gone and continued to grow are the free enterprise countries. We work to create morals and levels of achievement for ourselves to prove we're somebody. And when we take and create all kinds of equality, we've taken away the incentives in life. And then we'll all become nobodies. Everybody will be a nobody. And when we fight for equality, we cannot ever achieve it because God didn't make it. God did not make it. All we'll do is create destruction. When you give a man a position because of equality, you take away the right of the guy in the identical race, religion, or whatever that he has achieved on his own. I believe you give poor people an opportunity, not a handout. It's normally the poor kids that get tired of being poor, who grow up without anything going for them and say, "I'm going to change it. I'm not going to have to live like this all of my life. And I'll start a business. I'll make it big. I'll succeed." The new rich normally come from poverty. And the ones that never get rich are the ones that mom and dad did everything for them and never made them pay a price for performance of their own. That's why you build your free enterprise system. It's why you build your wealth. That's why you have a lifestyle. You're building your own dreams, so someday when the boss says, I don't like you doing that thing, you can say, bye-bye, I don't need your job. Every time you get something for nothing, you make somebody more of a nothing than something. You understand that? Every time you take from the rich to give to the poor, you keep the poor poorer. You take incentive away from being rich. The more you give them to survive, the less reason they have to work for it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're government or whether you're a parent. Free enterprise is all about trying to raise everybody as high as you can get them. But the first thing you've got to do is raise their thinking and raise their dream and know that they've got to propel themselves. And for a lot of us, that's hard. Only in America could a guy who stuttered, who barely graduated from high school, ever dream of being asked to be a speaker in front of thousands of people and meet the presidents. See, it's only in America that a 24-year-old father can invest less than $100 to start his own business and be able to earn and learn. Commitment to work or commitment to leisure brings different results. Never in history have we needed a new commitment to the free enterprise system more than we do right now. Rich DeVos used to always tell a story about the young kid they were so worried about because the kid got to be 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, who never uttered a word. Never a mama or papa, no nothing. At 6 years old, mom served breakfast. The kid took his hot chocolate and said, "Oh, that's terrible." The parents stood there astounded. "Oh my, first words and it's a sentence? If you can talk, how come it took you so long?" Quote, "Everything's been okay up until now," end quote. The people who deserve a better lifestyle are the ones that work. See? You know what the best way is to teach somebody how to solve their problems? It is solving your own problems. The more problems you have, the more you will solve. The more experience you have gotten, and the easier it is to help somebody else through their problems. Reaching in your pocket and saying, "Well, friends, here's some money. This will solve your problems," is never the answer. The answer is, I have got some dollars that I've earned to help me solve my problems. Now let me show you how to make some dollars through solving your own problems. My job is to get you the knowledge so you can think on your own, make your own decisions, and be candid with you. I've been rich and I've been poor. I like rich best. And you know what? I want everybody in America to have opportunity to get rich. It's in getting rich that you help the economy. When you get rich, you may need somebody to go out and do some shopping for you. People do this, and people do that. The more successful people get, the more people they hire to do the things they used to do themselves. So the real goal in America should be that we would have more people getting richer than ever before in the history of America because they would be hiring more people. The more money I make, the better I can live. The better lifestyle my kids get used to. The better they'll want to work. The harder they'll want to commit themselves to having a better future than mom and dad. Because most kids try to outdo mom and dad. The hope of this world is a free enterprise system. Free enterprise is an enterprise free of government interference. Capitalism is an economic system characterized by private or corporate ownership of goods and by prices, production, and the distribution of goods that are determined mainly by competition in a free market. Bob McEwen. Free enterprise isn't a gift. We have the work to maintain it. The only political or economic system in which we have no risk is the one in which we have no choice. If we forget that, we'll lose everything. Rich DeVos. Chapter 4. Who are you? This above all, to thine own self be true. William Shakespeare. Driving down the road yesterday, I saw a bumper sticker that made me honk at the driver and give him a big thumbs up. It said, I would rather be hated for what I am than loved for what I am not. You've got to know who you really are. And when you know who you are, you don't have to prove who you are to anybody else. For example, some guy went out of his way to meet For example, some guys went out to meet this guy. And going down through the airport, a couple of kids tried to throw a punch at him. Half fun, but 90% real. And they thought, boy, I like to knock him out. And the guy they were messing with was Muhammad Ali. He didn't try to prove something by punching back. Instead, he just said, hi. He knows who he is. A middle-aged woman had a heart attack and was taken to the hospital. While on the operating table, she had a near-death experience. Seeing God, she asked if this was it. God said, no. You have another 43 years, 2 months, and 8 days to live. Upon recovery, the woman decided to stay in the hospital and have a facelift, liposuction, tummy tuck, etc. She even had someone come in and change her hair color, figuring since she had so much time to live, she might as well make the most of it. So she got out of the hospital, and after the last operation, while crossing the street, she was hit by a car and killed. Arriving in front of God, she demanded, I thought you said I had another 40 years. God replied, well, I didn't recognize you. So be yourself. Think about it. Aren't most of the discontented people you know trying to be something they are not, or trying to do something they're not supposed to do? The reward for conformity was that everybody liked you except yourself. That's Rita Mae Brown. Everybody who ever became great was a nobody who one day decided to be somebody. They were all nobodies who decided to be somebodies. I'm just wondering, when you're going to decide to be somebody, how about now? Your potential is whatever you make it. One of the hardest things about climbing the ladder of success is getting through the crowd of copies at the bottom. The number of people who don't take advantage of their talents is more than made up by the numbers who take advantage of their talents. You are a specialist. You are not created to be all things to all people. You are the greatest miracle in the world. Stand out. Don't blend in. And when we look down at ourselves, we look down on our God. He didn't make a mistake when he made you. Don't let anybody ever tell you that. None of us are perfect. And if you were, nobody would recognize it because a lot of people are out to criticize anybody anyway. When they pick on us, they feel better about themselves. So let them feel better about themselves. Let's not take it personally. When they pick on us, it's a sign of a poor self-image on their part. Let's recognize it and let's get going and let's get ourselves on to what's good. You and I don't want to be equal. Isn't that right? And you can never make the loser a winner until he decides to change. What you don't use, you lose. And I have created a lot of bad habits in my life that I had to change. I used to have a terrible habit. Every time I did something that was wrong, I said, why, you idiot, stupid Dexter, why did you do that? I had to learn to quit calling myself stupid. How many ever do something like that? You call yourself a stupid idiot. Never do it again. You're not stupid. You're not an idiot. And quit saying that about yourself. Don't let your friends or politicians or anybody else put you into a category that you don't want to live in. You were made on purpose and for purpose. This is something for you to do that no one else can do, as well as you can. Out of billions of applicants, you're the most qualified. It's been said that the biggest enemy of great is good. The biggest enemy most of us will face is ourselves. That nagging voice that says, be like him, you're not worthy. Do what she does. Go with the crowd. And when you're trying to be like somebody else, the best you can ever be is second best. Let me tell you, in every generation, there's going to be a certain amount of people that are going to take over all the industries. Everybody will say, well, it's too late for that. It's not too late for anything. The biggest churches have not been built yet. The biggest businesses have not been built yet. You are a champion hiding in your own shell. when you're going to break through that shell and find out who you are in there. And if you're going to change anybody's way of thinking, first you've got to change your own. Don't find yourself saying what the great evangelist Dwight L. Moody said, "I've never met a man who gave me as much trouble as myself." You must begin to think of yourself as becoming a person you want to be. Give the man you like to be a look in the mirror. Give the man you like to be a look at in the man you are. Change what you tell yourself. No one really knows enough to be a pessimist. Remember, one of the nice things about problems is that a good many of them do not exist except in our imagination. The fear you fear is only in yourself and nowhere else. There are two faces warring against each other inside us. One says you cannot, and the other says with God you can. How do you picture yourself? I was reading a newspaper column by a friend of mine, Jeffrey Gitomer, in which he referred to a book. The book was called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. In it, Maltz says, we react to the image we have of ourselves in our brain. Change that image for better and your lives will improve. Self-image is changed for better or worse, not by intelligence alone, not by intellectual knowledge alone, but by experiencing. This applies to every aspect of your life, whether it's finding business success or anything else. You have to be able to picture yourself doing something first before you can actually do it. No one is in control of your destiny but you. You're not only in control of your mind, but you're also in control of the power to change the environment you're in. That's why I always say, no excuses. If you don't like where you're at, change it. If you change your self-image, you will begin to change your mental image as well. And eventually your thoughts will become your reality. You know, if you put 100 men side by side at the age of 25, by the time they're 65, only one will be rich. Everything seems equal. Why do some go the distance and others don't? It is the way we think, who they pick as mentors, who they follow, and how they view themselves. If 90% of people you talk to about your dream laugh at you, then laugh at you, then you want them to accept you. You can say goodbye to your dream. It's lost by choice. If you want the good stuff, find out who's got the good stuff. Make them your mentor. People who have big dreams think differently than others. The reason why some people are rich and others are poor is the way that they think and who they follow. I'm prejudiced about everything. Everybody's special in some way. Sometimes Birdie and I are introduced as a royal couple. I am royalty. My middle name is Royal. How would you like to have Royal as your middle name? I got kidded a lot when I was a kid. Dexter Maltos. I got picked on for this weird name my parents gave me. But my mom told me Dexter was her maiden name. She made me proud of my name, Dexter. My grandfather, my dad's dad, was Royal J. Yeager. I got his name. I got her name. I got the family name. I'm prejudiced. I'm proud of it. Get prejudiced about you. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of where you came from. Be proud of your kids. Too many people predict to the kids that they're going to be losers. Identify their winning traits. Okay, find what's right in them and edify what's right. What are you going to be? What are you going to be? What are you going to do? God created you, and He doesn't create junk. I don't care if you're purple and black with white spots all over you. God made one of you. Be proud of that. I'm 5'6". That's what I've got to work with. I wanted to be 6'5". Somehow the numbers got flipped. But I found out it's not how tall you are on the outside. It's how tall you are on the inside. Now we're all different. God didn't make two of us. He made one of you, and there's a good and bad in that. Which do you want to focus on? A lot of people in America are taking stands for what they're not. They end up spending their whole lives as strangers to themselves. When Bertie and I knew where we came from and what we thought of ourselves, we didn't think that we were anybody special or that we could ever be anybody special. But then we seen ourselves step out and make decisions after decisions. And when you get out there and you learn how step by step, by trial and error, by falling and getting back up, and you get good and you start passing the rest, then you start realizing anybody can do this. And then you find out the major American disease is not AIDS. The major disease in America is a poor self-image. People that don't think they've got what it takes. You've got to take what you've got and develop it. And then all of a sudden, you go like, me? Do that? Okay, I'll try. Well, I'll try again. Oh my. Look what I've done. You'll blow your own mind. But when you don't know who you are, you get hung up and screwed up over the little things. You know what I mean? So that's why I just love to see people who can learn to be who they really are early on in life. Learn to be real. Learn to have fun and not worry all of the time about what everybody else is thinking about them. People would worry less about what others think about them if they only realize how seldom people think about them. They're not worried about you. They're wondering about what. They're not worried about you. They're wondering about what you think about them. It's amazing along the way as you go towards success, whether you're a kid or whether you're 40 or 50, someone is always going to be deciding what spot you're in life. How valuable are you? How you should think and how you should be. But in life, you got to make the final decision about you because it's your life. The old saying is true. If you don't decide what's important in your life, someone else will decide for you. You know it's awful important to know who you are. Most people don't know who they are, and they let everybody else around them tell them who they are. I'm here to tell you that what your friends have told you is wrong. You are a winner, but only by choice. I'm a winner by choice. It wasn't an accident. It was a decision. A successful self-image is just a decision along the way. What are you going to be today? Are you letting the world control you and keep you from being successful? Not me. The valuable decision forces you to do what you've got to do. You've got to learn how to make you got to learn how to make you produce, because see, you're the greatest asset you'll ever have. Nobody else is going to respect you before you start to respect yourself. The problem is when you look at yourself and you look for a defect, or you hide behind a defect versus developing pride and going after your dream, regardless of the facts. Because every winner has to overcome something. Your power is in your personal belief. Achievement is life. It is what it's all about. The chance to get rid of this lousy self-image that the school and the wise guys seem to cram down everybody's throat. Many of our parents, loved ones, teachers, sisters, brothers, cousins, preachers, congressmen, senators, the media, and everybody else around us treat us and teaches us that we are less than the best. And that's wrong. 90% of everything we've been taught in our lives is all wrong. And until you and I wake up and realize that they're wrong, you're not going to move. You've got to realize that God made you and me. And God doesn't make junk. He makes the best. I dare you to be who you are. Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is wisdom. Mastering others is strength, but mastering yourself is true power. Lao Tzu. Success begins by raising the opinions we have of ourselves. Dexter Yeager.